in the bottom right, in the blue, our finished player. He is
ENCE Esports, Serral.
He is on match point, Tasteless.
Yes, he is, Maynard.
In the top left here, the pride of Korea on the line. Can he do it? He is.
Makers Classic.
We're in the new era, Tasteless. The Koreans better get used to it.
Yeah, this is crazy, man. So, you know, when GSL was branded about 8.5 years ago,
Story time with
GSL stands for Global Starcraft League. Unfortunately, for most of that time, it was not a very global tournament. I mean, we had a couple good non-Korean players at the start, and then we've had, obviously, Scarlett's been here several times, Special, but it's mostly just been a Korean tournament. So then we had, okay, let's do GSL versus the world, right?
Yeah.
Get some more foreign representation here. The GSL has never been more global than it is right now, Maynard. It's
very global.
Crazy. I mean, it took over 20 years, but the rest of the world has caught up. And we're going to see, again, guys, Classic might win this. He might win this game, and then he might win the next game, and then beat a Laser in the finals. It's still possible, but I'm telling you, right now, he's in a tough spot. It's looking like Korea's title is really under threat.
And wouldn't be the first time. So, this guy, of course, beating Koreans the whole way through GSL vs. the World last year, and then defeating Stats and Rogue. Some really sick series in the World Finals. This kid really hasn't slowed down. A lot of people saying, oh, Serral, he's just not as good as he was in 2018 because he's actually losing series, which didn't happen in 2018.
Yeah.
But let's be real. The level has increased. Serral is still an absolute god, and he's showing us here in this tournament. Classic going for the Stargate opening here with the Adept. So a bit of a tried and true PvZ opening, nothing really crazy. Serral fanning out those Zerglings, looking for potential proxies, and would love to catch this probe.
Yeah, is he going to find it?
I think he is.
Okay, good catch,
neighbor.
Let's remember, guys, we have not had a standard opening here from Classic yet.
Not yet. I mean, so far this is extremely standard. A couple of Adepts in the Stargate.
So that's what I'm hoping for. I want to see what it looks like if these guys do standard play.
I just think that's so dangerous to go standard against Serral.
But I mean, he's already tried doing the crazy stuff, right?
He has. I mean, I just hope that there's something that's crazy that works. For Classic, just to make sure we get a Game 5 or get down to the wire in the series. Potentially even with Classic winning it. I mean, it'd be fantastic for Korea, but you can't let this kid get to high. It just seems like that's the case here. So we do have that Adept dancing around. Nice little bit of Adept control here, damaging some of those drones, forcing some Spore Crawlers, getting a drone kill. Yeah, it's a good Adept. It's a good Adept.
Oh. Good. So far, so good. And he's going to try to get that to shade away. Might end up getting killed off, though.
And an Extractor and more Spore Crawlers than he wants here, so he cancels those, get those drones back. Of course, it does cost Serral a little bit of money, so the Adept is putting in work here for Classic.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just because it doesn't kill him doesn't mean it hasn't made an impact.
That's right. So a couple Oracles here for Classic to start things off with, by the looks of things. With the Phoenix first, obviously, get rid of those Overlords. Now, this is the map where 3 Oracle, you see it time and time again in PvZ. Will he do that? I mean, Serral has adjusted, but it seems like any time a Protoss does this against Serral, they do find drone damage. It's just that he manages to generally recover, although we have seen time to time, especially from Stats, that isn't always the case.
We've got the Oracles out now. Again, things looking pretty textbooky.
Textbooky, yeah.
And can't say I'm too surprised by that. And to win these best of 5s, you really need to bring a lot of different types of play.
Now, actually, this looks like an Archon drop from Classic. He's making some Zealots back at home, or making a Zealot back at home to plug the hole here, so the Zerg can't just run in and ruin everything. What I was looking at there was like the gas income of Classic, which looks like it is still climbing, but Classic is making a lot of gateways, Tasteless, and there is charge on the way.
Okay.
That's what I was looking for. That's why I was, yeah.
This is like a battering ram-like build. So it looks like standard. I mean, now it doesn't, but from the Zerg's angle, he could still assume it's standard. Yeah. But then he immediately switches it into this insane timing attack.
That's right. You see a couple of Depths, you see a couple of Oracles in the Phoenix, and you're like, oh yeah, this is pretty regular.
Yeah.
But then the charge lots to come and knocking, and you know what? Yeah. Trap went for something similar like this and actually got a win in that series. So
yeah, why not? No, this is a great build. So very specific timing attack here, guys. And this is, out of all the rushes that Protoss can do, the one where the damage mounts at a crazy rate.
Yeah,
You know, it's just like out of nowhere, the Zealots are there, you're getting overwhelmed. If you didn't have enough at the moment, you're not going to do it. It's quite different from like a lot of these Immortal pushes where there is this tug-of-war, but eventually you will overcome them if you can just juggle the Immortals well enough.
Oh, these sentries exposed a little bit here. Oh, okay, they've tucked into a nice little corner. So we've got to get too much done with those Lings. I was a little bit worried about those exposed sentries. But they pull back to safety. Serral is amassing roaches here. He's got roach speed on the way as well as the lair is complete. And Serral knows that this is not any kind of DT Archon drop, so he doesn't need to waste time on Overseers. What he needs to do is get a lot of roaches and get them out now.
Okay, the push is going to begin. Classic parks his tech until the rush either, well, if he wins the game, it's done. If it doesn't, then he might go back. He's halted workers as well. The only thing he's going to be making is Zealots.
Yeah,
Ravagers getting ready. Now remember, the Ravagers are geared to assassinate the Warp Prism, because that way you're cutting off the reinforcements and eventually Serral can stabilize.
And also breaking sentry force fields. I love this from
Serral.
Well. He's trying to stop the flow of Zealots here with those Evo chambers. The Sentry's actually getting some nice force fields here. The Roaches, Ravagers, and even a Queen or two on the front line there, getting cut to pieces by those Zealots. The Oracle coming in from the backside to try and help out against Serral's army. Classic is making a little bit of headway here, but Serral does have the defender's advantage. He does have some more Roaches on the way, I assume. I haven't seen the production tab for a bit.
Oh,
but
God, what are these Lings doing?
I mean, they were waiting for the Zealots to not be here, I guess. But, yeah, Serral could use F2 right now, and it would help him out a bit. But,
those are Union Lings, man. He's coming forward now. He's going to hit these... he hits those sentries. Things are starting to slow down here for Classic. Classic really needs to get in here. Ooh. Oh, God, and he screws up the warping. Which is a reset there. He's gonna be behind in tempo because you need to get every warping round to work.
I'm gonna say it, Tasteless. This timing
looking
attack
bad.
has failed. It's Classic's pulling out of this. He's probing again. He's going towards the Templar Archives and Immortal production.
But I don't think he killed enough here. By the way, Army Supply 18 to 62.
Oh, that Zealot had a little opening there, and those Lings actually busted on through. There is a pylon still plugging the hole. This entire infrastructure of Classic, though, is very exposed. The Immortal takes a long time to kill a bowl of Lings.
Oh, my God. It's like a drop from 2012. Look at that.
Yeah.
Okay, he's going to come in here now.
In the Spore Crawler range. Classic getting a little frazzled here.
Yeah, the thing is, when you do this rush and it fails like this, there's so many ways for the Zerg to win. I mean, it's like a choose-your-own-adventure of how you want to end the game. I'm not saying that it's impossible for Classic to win, but it's pretty close to that.
Well, I mean, the big problem here for Classic is that he doesn't really have a, he could maybe go for a push later, but it's going to be quite a while, and his third Nexus is so delayed. He's just started it now. So while you look at the worker count and go, oh, the Protoss isn't that far behind, he hasn't got a third base, guys. Like, this is a really rough situation for Classic income-wise. Meanwhile, Serral, he's getting those upgrades for his units. He's even squeezing out a few more drones here, knowing that Classic actually can't do anything to him for a little while, but it is going to be some Archons inside of a War Prism to try and do a little bit of damage and slow down Serral a little bit.
Yeah, this fourth base for Serral is going to be like the most uncontested fourth base you could ask for. As Classic is trying to just finish his third. Now, this map, it tends to incentivize players to macro. I don't necessarily think Serral has to go kill Classic's third base, even though Serral's in control of this game. But I would definitely imagine that Serral's going to try to make sure that Classic never gets a fourth base ever.
I mean, he did a great job of it on Thunderbird, right? Classic was trying to get that fourth base, but he had those mutas and those corruptors sort of sharking around and making sure that if Classic ever left the comfort of his triangle of Nexi, that Serral was out there to meet him. Seeing a lot of drones here from Serral. He lost a handful of them to the Archon drop of Classic, which did find some damage, got some Overlord kills as well. But the Zerg still almost 70 drones. In fact, now he's well and truly over it. And it is about that time, Tasteless. That time that Classic does not want to meet, and that is the Infestation Pit getting dropped down. Serral close to Hive.
Yeah, I mean, as Classic has had to retreat and try to develop an economy, Serral is very comfortably teching into a real threatening army here. I do like the Archon harass here. I think this is incredibly necessary.
Yeah, absolutely.
If there's going to be any opportunity for a comeback. He needs to be careful, though, because you also cannot lose that War Prism.
No, and even just losing the Prism means that you potentially couldn't reinforce your army if you want to use it for a reinforcement point. The Archons are incredibly good fighting units, so you definitely want them as part of your force as well. And Serral trying to catch that War Prism, but Classic's too good for that.
I'm not sure if Classic's really going to push into this because I don't think it would work, but you know, it's hard for both players to know where the other guy's supply is going to be. There's a lot of weird math figures. We're sort of out of a textbook game now and now into a pretty messy game. But right now, Serral's about to max out. Classic's going to send the War Prism over and start to try to drop there. And that's in an attempt to dislodge this army that Serral has ready for the Classic's army in the middle of the map. And as that army's pulled away, I think we're going to see Classic move out. Actually, Classic's going back home, according to the minimap.
Okay. Yeah, I was with you, Tasteless. I thought that maybe he was going to come through that creep and try and use the Archons to maybe distract Serral and then come in with that, like a little bit of a flank that he was setting up there with those units.
Yeah, he actually wanted to get a little bit more set up here. Okay, hold on. This would actually be a great time to attack in. Here we go.
Oh, this Baneling's really a huge threat to the Zealots. Nice force field from Classic. Oh, Serral got some Banelings on the backside as well. Oh, he's trying to go for a flank here. The force fields from Classic are really nice, but there's just so many Banelings. Serral crashes through the Zealot count, and he has so many Roaches left over. I think that this is going to end right here, Tasteless. I said don't let him get the Hive, but apparently Lair is pretty scary as well.
He's coming forward now. The only thing that's really left here for Classic is all of these Immortals. That's the natural counter to Ravagers, but when you have this many Ravagers, there is no hope of survival.
Oh, man, and speaking of hope of survival, I'm worried for Korea here, Tasteless. This is looking more and more like an all-world final as Serral is marching on the front door of Classic. The third is in shambles. Ling reinforcements nowhere near enough Protoss units to slow them down. Serral morphing Banelings right in his face, and there is just nothing left for the Korea Protoss.
Well